This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented to you by Cut. Cut is the peer-to-peer social betting platform that's U.S.-based and available in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's Kutt.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. And we're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. And don't forget to enter our Super Bowl 58 props contest. Pick 58 Super Bowl props for a chance to win $1,000. It's free to enter over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/SB58 or in the SGPN app. All right, DJs, welcome back. It's your boy, Boston Capper, the God of Golf himself, Steve Shermer. We're here for the Waste Management Phoenix Open, and we have a very special guest with us again. I think he's fucking regular at this point, Mr. Geoff Fienberg. Jeff, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Always happy to join you guys. Exciting time of year.
Yeah.
I wasn't on Wyndham last week, but keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I wasn't on Wyndham either, and what's funny is I don't know. It's fucking. If I had a Wyndham ticket, I'd be super fucking happy. But if I had a Ludwig ticket, like my boy Steve here, I would be losing my ever loving fucking mind that thing got canceled. And you know, Wyndham wins a U.S. Open and an elevated event at 80-1 and 100-1.
Yeah.
Woo, and world.
I guess the only saving grace for me, not to make Steve feel worse, is like I love Ludwig. Part of me was like, I'd have been so upset to see him lift such a great trophy at the 28-30-1. I was on him at Torrey Pine. So the only thing I was like, okay, well, at least I don't hate myself because Ludwig won without me. But I do feel bad for anyone. If they played, I would have been full bear that Ludwig would have hunted him down if the leader would have come from the top. Obviously, there could have been so many variables if they actually played. And even saw what Niemann did post his 59, like he just treaded water.
Yes.
Was such a congratulations, Wyndham. I'm not bitter at all. My friends, all our friends in the internet golf community who have all that extra flow for Super Bowl week.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Not me.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've actually added a couple. I keep a running top 10 of pain rankings for golf, and I've added already 2 entries this year. One of them was Keegan tied on a par 5 and failing to get that done at Sony, and then Sam Burns putting one in the drink and losing to a fucking amateur. So listen, you know, the fact that I lost after a tournament got canceled for the 6th time, I think, since 2005, and you know, Wyndham Clark just ended up carving a course record with, you know, a bunch of birdies and a billion strokes gained. You know what? It doesn't even make the list. You know, it's fine. We're okay. Helps that I had Niemann, you know, I had Liv as well.
Yeah,
so that took a little bit of a sting off it. We're moving on to Phoenix here.
I swore we were completely fucked though, because I was on Niemann as well, and the way Steve's weekend was going, I was like, oh, there's no fucking chance Niemann doesn't lose to fucking Sergio. Like I thought we were completely dead.
Capper, not to compare like talent or what they might be.
Yeah.
But I swear to you, tell me if I'm wrong, and if maybe I'm putting this in your head and it's something you'll enjoy and won't be able to unsee. When you look at Ludwig's face, do you not like see like Tom Brady's eyes?
I do.
Like I'm not like
cheekbones too.
Yeah, there's something about the fit. I'm like, I've seen this face. I've seen this face on like a Dominator before. I'm telling you,
it's looks. Tom. And what's crazy? It's the 40-year-old Tom. It's not the 20-year-old babyface Tom. Like he looks like 40-year-old. I'm with Giselle, supermodel. I eat only fucking, you know, the best foods ever, and I don't drink beer.
There's
anymore.
just like from like this, like if you just like close caption the eyes and like from the cheeks above, I swear to you, I think it's Tom Brady's face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I said it to my wife when we were watching on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with Ludwig when, I mean, and to the PGA Tour's credit, because they kind of bubble this stuff sometimes, but I remember before he broke out at, sometimes, but before he broke out at Bay Hill last year, they put out a video on YouTube of him just all dressed up in a ski hat and going out in the snow and hitting bunker shots off of snow and 3-woods and everything. And like, I mean, that dude right from the jump, just star power right there. And he's been awesome since. And, you know, I mean, I don't think that's the last time I'll have a ticket on Ludwig, and he's in the mix, you know, down the stretch. But, yeah, what I want to talk about with you, Geoff, is, we both want to talk about this. Is like, this was kind of, I mean, it was a weird weekend, obviously, with the PGA Tour. You had to cancel after 54 holes, but it just gave Liv this platform on Sunday to showcase itself with a pretty good leaderboard. I mean, how much Liv did you watch over the weekend? Did it change your perceptions at all as far as that tour, what it can offer, as far as, it being a competitive product to PGA Tours, or just, kind of sitting where it was, where it's just, it's an exhibition, doesn't matter, move on to next week?
So how do I put this? I didn't watch a ton, but I was also home, got home from out of town with kids and without my wife, and the weather was nice. That being said, I did watch the last couple holes Sunday in the playoff. Of course I would. I'm home. I put it up on the YouTube. I even set it up for my parents who had never been able to figure that out, who love golf. And they're so happy to watch Sergio or John Rahm. They just love golf. Obviously, there's the whole other stuff. That being said, I don't know what to make of that. I would watch a playoff, if an NBA, if a sports game's in overtime, I'm just interested. If it's a sports that I'm interested in. So I don't want to quantify me watching a 4-hole playoff versus players I like is this thing that's great for Liv. I think the field is good. It's fine. It's actually great. And I could watch it again. I will say that I believe what was the best thing for Liv this week in the narrative discourse was not so much that the PGA didn't play Sunday and they got a bit of an uptick in an audience. Is more the polarizing fact after the fact. Wyndham Clark wins. He moves up in world rankings, a 54-hole event. Joaquin Niemann wins a 54-hole event. He goes backwards in world rankings. So more so than the golf fans who are aware of Liv and that event was close and let's go put it on YouTube. More so the uptick than that. I think it's just the discourse surrounding the polarizing exact 54-hole narrative and we're in this thing, and I want Niemann in those majors, man. I would 80-1 for a PGA. I'd bet Niemann forever at 80-1 in a PGA, a decade straight, long and straight. Are you kidding? So yeah, that would be my biggest win for Liv, is just how it happened in the context of their fight for world ranking points. As someone who wants Niemann to get in the majors, seeing him go backwards after winning an event on a course we've played before in a field in which John Rahm is in, you shouldn't be going backwards.
Yeah, so I guess my thing is look, they knew what they were signing up for. They got sold a bill of goods, probably, right? Just like the guy selling the monorail, right? Hey, it's gonna work out. It's gonna work out great. You guys are gonna get the OWGR.
And they even knew, I think, as Carlos Ortiz said, they knew there could be it might not happen quickly. For them to be dumb to it. Yeah, sure. They were, I think Mayo made up a great point. Maybe the majors should if you're a top 5 Liv player who's already not in a major, you can't go back. It's not like Pro Bowls where we'll keep adding people to it.
Right.
But if you're actually in a there should be some minor qualification there where they give 1 or 2 spots to players who are not already in based on their seasons. That I would like to see that. I just want the majors to not be, just to be great, just to be where everyone is.
Yeah, no, and I think the biggest thing for me is, look, they already took a shit ton of my guys, right? I love Cam Smith. I like Brooks. I loved fucking DJ. Sergio was my guy. I liked Louis. They took the ear, for Christ's sake. Lucas Herbert. I love him. And then they went and took Rahm and Hatton, who were my 2 favorite golfers. Fuck. But what's funny is I don't know. I feel with all those other golfers went over there, Rahm gave it a different air, right? We all shat on it and it did whatever throughout however many weeks, and it happened last year. And I just feel Rahm maybe gives it a little gravitas that it didn't have before, whether you still can't find it on the CW or whatever. Rahm is still out there dropping F-bombs and fucking clearly still in competitive mode. I feel maybe he's making it a little more legitimate than it was last year. So it's a different kind of watch.
It feels like this. I said to Mayo, and maybe it was a thing I'm pirating from someone saying to me, but it hit hard. Every event kind of feels like the century, I think. That's where I am.
Yeah.
Where it's there's a level of that. Not, we don't think the Century's exhibition, but there's a level of exhibition to the Century. It's far more laid back. It's a high end cluster of really good players. Like every event, and I love watching the Century. But if every event's like that sort of vibe, and on top of it, they're at fun courses like Valderrama or places that the PGA is exiled or places that they know will find interesting. That is good, but you're right. ROM adds of course it adds legitimacy, but nothing added more legitimacy than the PGA saying, we'll do a deal with you. Even though that deal breaks down, the moment the PGA said, we'll do a merger, nothing could make it more legitimate than just the simple fact of getting to sit at the table with the PGA. I hope they figure something out, man.
And listen, annoyed. I know Steve wants to jump in. I just have to say, this fucking stupid private equity group with this ghoul, John fucking Henry, at the seat of the table. Forget about it. This is the guy. Do you want to know how bad this guy is at public relations? He has won 4 fucking championships for the Red Sox, who have not won. When I was a kid, we haven't won over 100 fucking years, and everyone hates him. We want him to sell the team. That is how, you can do anything in Boston. You get a home run and we get eliminated from playoffs. You get beers and food for life. We love you. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this guy, 4 championships. We hate his guts. We want him out. They're trying to hire Theo now as like a PR stunt. We want him to sell the team. Tom Warner sucks. John Henry sucks. The fact that this Fenway Sports Group, they bought the fucking Penguins, which is a rival of the Patriots. They got money in fucking race cars and soccer and all this other shit. They give no fucks about the Red Sox. We literally sitting there with our Schmenzer in our goddamn hands. All through the offseason, we're acting like the Tampa Bay Rays, and we spend no money. And this is the fucking guy that is going to save the PGA? No. Private equity comes in to trim the fucking fat and fucking repackage and resell. And that's all they're going to do. And I don't give a fuck if the players make more money or not. The odds, I think I heard you say this, like the odds of them putting more money into the fucking product for the fans is 0 or slim to none, and Slim left fucking town. It's not
about the money. It's just like you said it, even from the outside, I know John Henry is not a guy that I'm not trusting John Henry to make it better for the fans.
No.
Based on what I know about John Henry.
Yeah. I mean, they literally said in that press release that this $1.5 billion that we're going to go in, the primary purpose is to maximize the revenue of the players, and then just a vague statement of, well, we'll just grow the game globally. And I mean, these private equity guys, what they do to come in, they invest to get a certain X% of growth. And part of that, if we're in a sport right now that kind of struggles to expand its bubble as far as attracting fans, listen, I love golf. I want it to be more popular. I don't really see a world where it's probably grabbing people to say, I'm going to watch golf instead of the NBA, or I'm going to watch baseball instead of golf or anything, or instead of
we could get baseball. We could get baseball.
Possibly. I mean, it's the same demographic, but I mean, what was really disturbing to me coming out of the press release and some quotes is some of the quotes from guys in the PGA Tour were saying, well, now we got the money. We don't need the PIF. We're good over here. I mean, what the hell do you think is going to happen with this stuff? I mean, sure, you got some stock and grant rights, but I think they are on absolute bath salts if they think that they can just continue to coexist with a competing organization that's still actively trying to poach their players. And these stock rates that they have, they got to stick around for a while. Do you know what the Saudis are doing? They're giving them a fat check right now. What do you think these guys are going to be doing? And these guys have really just kind of showed themselves at the end of the day that they really just care about money. I mean, I've seen way too much of how the sausage has been being made the last year and a half. And, they've kind of shown their true colors. And I don't know. I did not like some of the quotes from Spieth and Ricky. And ironically,
fucking moron.
Ironically, the guy that took the most heat is the most clear and lucid on this is Rory, that he says, we need the game to get it back together. And I mean, I don't blame him for leaving the text chains or moving to London. I don't think these guys have any clue what they're signing up for and getting.
And the worst thing about this, Steve, and I know we've talked about this, is these guys are pro golfers. They wear finance hats and they think they understand how finance works through osmosis when they sweat through their hat and it goes into their brain or something. Jordan Spieth knows fucking nothing about how private equity works at all. And half of his quotes made my mind explode. And he's the mouthpiece. I was the biggest. I hated Rory for lots of reasons. Like I said, my grandfather downloaded the bad stuff for Irish Protestants versus Irish Catholics. And, but no one's abused him more than me. But the fact he finally realized he was Moynihan's like mouthpiece and he was the one to take the fall. He was the patsy. Now that he's realized it,
that's the other part.
Yep.
The fact that Monahan could still like I'm a pessimist. Like
he fails up.
This is short-term gain for long-term, short-term pain for long-term gain. I think it's like long-term pain. Like they didn't even replace Monahan. And it'll be interesting to see. Tiger will obviously get a lot of media, or he'll do a big presser, I'm sure, at Riv next week for both apparel. But he'll meet the media, and by all accounts, like he's the one that killed the merger. So
yeah.
I don't like in the moment.
No, I don't like that.
Like we'll see what history says about that, but right now, I don't think that's a good thing for me.
No, and the fact that, listen, I know you hate Monahan as much as I do. I hate him possibly more than you do because I know where he came from and I hated his boss. He sucked at a giant corporation that I worked for. He failed up there, and he just keeps fucking failing up, and it's fucking frustrating. Like this guy, he's done so many bad things, like just unbelievable. Never mind using 9/11 families for his fucking talking points and then walking them back. Like, and I can't with him. Like the fact I was with you, and I don't wish death upon anyone, but I was hoping he would have a big enough health scare.
Not death. I just don't feel bad for this. I don't wish. Yeah. I just don't feel bad. I'm not the one that was like sending like, oh, wishing him well tweets.
No, fuck
like,
no, never.
No, that like no. I'll have to hear about something way worse to wish him well.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I watched probably an unhealthy amount of Live this weekend because I've kind of taken upon myself as if really we're in this landscape of these Live events, what do they mean? You know, in the grand scheme of things, but these PG Tour events, I mean, at least the first couple, this year, not a lot of energy, kind of dead. And I think it's, to me, that, the curtain's been kind of pulled that, the majors always mattered only to anybody else, but in this little pocket of golf fans, like the Valspar matter, the Rocket Mortgage matter.
More than that, right. I like you, was able to buy into the myth. I'll now call it a myth. Like, no, fuck Bay Hill. It's so fucking important, man. Arnie's legacy, Memorial Jack's legacy, like all these events. And like, we're still allowed to enjoy them. Like when we watch them on the weekend, it's still players we like, bets we have, high leverage shots that mean a lot, for players. But it just, the myth of them is so like gone. Like it does not matter. It's all phony. Now, that being said, like as golf fans, like we can so easily complain Thursday through Saturday and Sunday morning, but is golf on TV that bad? Like Sunday at 3:00, like when the leaders are on the back nine, unless it's like the situation, like one year at Riv, like 10 guys were like legitimately like within like most of the times, like, no, they're just showing the guys who are actually contending. They don't give a shit about your birdie streaks for DraftKings. Like at that point of the tournament, once like everyone is kind of watching, even the hardcores and the casuals, there's only so many players competing to actually win. I do feel like they do show those shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm sorry, Steve.
I mean, look, like, I think in the gambling community, just like it's golf on TV, we're sweating bets, like everything's gonna be important. It's kind of like with switching back and forth with Pebble and Liv. Like I had Neiman in the mix, I had Aberg in the mix, like just trying to watch it back and forth there. I just felt like on Saturday trying to juggle both and knowing that in the grand scheme of things, neither really matter. It just really made me wish, like you said, they all just come back under one roof. But I did feel, because from a content standpoint, as someone who just gives golf advice, I can lazily not watch some PGA Tour stuff and still get my opinion on a guy because I have strokes gain, I have useful stuff. I feel like if the majors are all that really matter and the most important content that I got to do every single year is the majors, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to eat my Brussels sprouts and watch a lot of Live because I need to have that eyeball test now to try and figure out,
Sure.
okay, like who's
Sure.
hitting good shots, who's not.
Well,
And
supposedly they're coming out with strokes gained soon. Other than I'm not even talking about that Google every shot thing. I heard that they have whatever their knockoff technology is, right? Which because it doesn't infringe on the quote unquote shot link data. But rumors are it's coming out this season. They're gonna have shot link, and that'll definitely change it for the gamblers anyway.
well, even on the broadcast, they actually showed at one point who's leading in strokes gained off the tee, and I'm like, well, I mean, is that fake? Are they making this stuff up? But like, it's clearly coming from somewhere. They have certain bells and whistles on there that says, okay, they at least know where these guys are as far as all right, he's in the rough, he's X yards away, and I mean, it seems like they have the capability to do it. There's some cool things they did do, but like watching that broadcast sometimes, like you'll get, all right, this really cool putting line. Like it's pretty accurate. All right, let's go to the Cleeks dinner montage.
That putting line is annoying.
Yeah, it got annoying.
That putting line is
That
annoying.
I didn't mind it.
It's
all that
annoying.
much.
I don't.
I like it
to see it, and then they got to pull it. It shouldn't be there when the puck, the
Agreed.
ball is away.
Agreed.
You
I
have
want to watch it
see
myself and realize it's
You
not
have
going
to see it and then register what the line is, and then part of the charm of watching the actual putt without the line is thinking, "Oh, I think that's on the line." They just
exactly. Thank you.
But
Yes.
like visually, it's kind of blah. But as Mayo said on Monday, because he watched Live almost for his first time, he's like the leaderboard. It's like so much going on, but they are close to like having a really good leaderboard. Like the ceiling of that leaderboard is high, if that makes any sense. It's a high ceiling leaderboard, but they got to clean it up. They got to take away some things, but like the concept of what they're doing isn't bad, but they just like, I don't know, they have short form names. Like it's just the team logo. It just can be confusing and muddled, but the potential is there for them to really hit something out of the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of, I watch a lot of auto racing. It looks exactly like you have an F1. They use the shortened names too. Or even in NASCAR, they have like a little pylon up top. And like, it's similar. You see like guys in real time move up, move down. But yeah, there is a lot going on. It can be a little bit of sensory overload, especially without, there's not a lot of commercials, which is a good thing. But I did feel at the end of it, I felt like I needed some Visine.
Yeah, like almost like gonna have a
I do like
seizure
hearing
after
Faraday
watching
again.
for too long.
Mm-hmm. You like hearing Faraday again?
Yeah, dude, I love Faraday, dude.
I don't know. He's lost his fastball. He said the cave in the middle of the seventh fairway leads to the Mediterranean.
Listen, man. Listen, you want to listen. The PGA Tour guys are the fucking worst. Like Corey Connors, the best putter ever. Fucking Morikawa, one of the longest players on tour. Like those guys step on their dick every single fucking broadcast. So Faraday at least has cachet.
The thing, what's come clear to me is what we, even as the most hardcore golf fans, bettors, all that stuff, we make fun of the PGA for playing too much. Like we do, like, because we're like, man, we could use more weeks. We're like, we don't have to freaking track this thing.
I'm not covering the John Deere this week.
But the fact that they play too much is actually maybe their biggest strength, because they literally are so reliable to even like the niche golf fan just knows like there's only 2 or 3 weeks a year where I put on at CBS on Sunday at dinner time and there's not a golf tournament finishing. The same way like an old person puts on the Weather Channel, like they just know it's happening. I say it many times with the live schedule, playing 11, 12 times, even if you're on Fox, it's hard for people to like know when you're actually playing. Like your fields can be great, but there's just the consistency that the person who's not even on our tier but loves to watch golf, like they just know that it's an appointment viewing, like the 6 o'clock news. You just know it's there. The PGA has that. We make fun of the PGA for that, but in hindsight, like looking at it, it actually might be their biggest strength in this battle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. I was looking at the ratings for Pebble this weekend, and even on Sunday, the replay of I think the third round there, it got 1.5 million, views there, and it was mostly, I think it's right. It's people, it's creatures of habit. It's like my dad, or like the TV in a pro shop or us hardcore golf fans. Like, we're always going to have it. And you're right. Like, yeah, this Mayakoba event, it got incredibly lucky that it happened to go against a tournament that got canceled. And it's people just said, okay, maybe I'll go check this out. It was a good leaderboard. Things kind of fell as good as it did. And it still only got 484,000.
Because there's a lot of people who like golf, niche golf fans who they didn't even know it was on.
Right.
And it doesn't have, it's not like you can't play so sporadically. And like people, like, how do you get into the consciousness of it? That's really maybe the biggest thing holding it back. Like, obviously, like majors and like huge tentpole events, they're given oxygen by, networks and media. But again, the old Yeller aspect of like golf on the weekend is like this nightly news to like even casual niche golf fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that until you put it like that. The reliability.
Yeah, because I always make fun of us. Give us like less events exhausting. Like, let us get out of the car wash for a couple extra weeks.
Oh, we do it every year at the end of the year. Me and Steve both look at each other, go, "Do we want to do this for another fucking year?"
Like, don't you wish they had a real off season like the other sports where it's like you could just
we have no off season.
Yeah, none. It's like It's literally like wrestling. They go as often as Monday Night Raw. Maybe Raw goes once or twice more than there's a golf tournament in a year.
Fucking insane. Mm-hmm. But all right. Well, listen, that was our live bet or bit, I guess. So we have the Phoenix Open to talk about. So not an elevated event this year. We're very familiar with the course. We already had 2 big dogs drop out, Xander and Victor. Victor is not on live yet, so that was good. That would have broken poor Geoff today if that happened.
Yeah. As I've joked many times, in this world where now the myths are gone, you almost have to create your own reason to find something important. And I sort of joked, my barometer is if Victor and Ludwig are playing in an event, it's important. But you got to almost choose your own adventure as to what will make something important enough to you outside of the betting aspect of it, which
Listen, if I have money on it, I am interested in it. Like, that's the end of the story. Like, if I have a sweat on Sunday, I'm fine with it. But Cam Smith and John Rahm were my 2 favorite golfers after DJ, and they're all gone now.
I know. Like, I'm sorry.
I have to pretend to watch these milquetoast country club fucks who have no personality on the PGA Tour, and now I have to sit through the Rocket Mortgage and pretend like I give a fuck. Like, it's tough.
I know. I mean, we don't even have Harry Higgs taking off his shirt at Phoenix this year because he's no longer the PGA Tour. So, God forbid what the rating's going to do there. But I mean, this event it doesn't need an elevated status though. I mean, is the field not as good as probably what it could be? Yeah, it sucks that, guys like Xander and Victor aren't there. But, I mean, it's still kind of like what Geoff said. We're creatures of habit with golf. Everybody's going to have Scottsdale on before the Super Bowl. That is the appetizer for everything. And there's a lot of really happy memories of good stuff happening at this event. Not necessarily like, for betting wise, but like just exciting finishes and dramatic moments and playoffs running into the Super Bowl where you're trying to, fight off people saying, hey, turn on the game and stuff like that. And this golf course, regardless of who plays in it, there's enough variance and car crashes that it's always going to make it interesting, on top of the fact that it's just a wild party in 16. I mean, it doesn't need the signature event status. This is definitely a primo event, regardless of who plays in it.
I always go back. I'm sure Geoff, I heard Geoff say, listen, this is where he embarrasses himself in front of like people who don't normally watch golf. So I don't remember what year, a couple years ago when James Hahn all of a sudden was making the fucking run and we were all sitting in our fucking living room. And Steve, me and you already had Brooks, right?
No, we bet him live. He was 20-1 on the back nine, and everybody looked like they were choking it away. And I think I texted you.
Everybody looks like they were choking it away.
I just bet Brooks right now. Yeah.
Yep. But everybody else, in my house, no one had bet golf. Like my buddies don't bet golf. They all think I'm like they're degenerates, but like I'm a next level degenerate. And I'm like, listen, you guys get a bet. Han, they're like, he's fucking making a run. And they're like, you don't know who he is. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I was like, he's making a run on the back nine. He's 90-1. We caught his book sleeping. Bet him. Bet Brooks at 20-1. And so we're watching it come down. And not a peep of anybody gives a shit about that Super Bowl coming on. They all give a fuck about the Waste Management Open, and that is one of the happiest things ever. Like I was able to give these people the poison of golf betting because 3 of those guys still bet golf today because of that one afternoon.
You know, for all the shine the PGA has lost in the last couple of years, this event, I'd argue, has lost none. As you've mentioned, I don't think it needs. They could go probably close to 5, 6, 7, 8 years having a below average field before it becomes a problem. Like there is so much equity into this event from the public consciousness, the sports media consciousness, the sports fan. You could make a case that it is the most important event on the PGA Tour in some respects, that it is like
Outside of
almost like
majors?
the 5th major. Not that the winner is treated like a major champion, not that you'll get endorsements from it or that we'll even remember who won a year ago, but in terms of like name a PGA tournament, like I just feel like this, it's embraced its pre-Super Bowl spot. Everything about it like is embraced by the mainstream. That like I don't mean major champion in terms of what it does for the winner, but in terms of like notoriety, I'd argue it's this and the players is probably the most important thing the PGA has.
I would 100% agree with that. 100. I can't think of 2 other events, and I would say the players, but it's only because I live here and I go. So I mean that was the only reason.
And
I
it has so much equity in the public consciousness that again, this field is that like it can. There was a time where the field wasn't great. It was Ricky and Hideki and a bunch of everyone else. And those were the years where this event grew in its popularity. So that shows this event does not need elevated at all. It's almost a waste to give it elevated. Unless maybe we got to put some juice back into it if we feel like it's losing its luster. But as I said, It's probably got at least 6 years before that's even like possible.
There you go. Well, shifting to the betting aspect of this. So I heard you mention that you've been sitting on a couple futures, I think, for a couple months now for this event. You want to tell the audience what they were, and are there any right now that you might regret making, or is there some like that you have right now that are just like you're really salivating, like, oh my god, I got the juicy number on this guy right here?
So it was fun. DraftKings put this up like majors, right? It was up through all the fall swing. And then, as Rom Live defected, as we got the new schedule, it was like, holy shit. Like there could be an opportunity here because maybe the schedule is weaker and Rom, like people are leaving, like, because Rom's a Phoenix guy. He would come like that in and of itself. But I got to be honest. I think I misread the market. I'm not upset with my futures. I have Sahith and Minwoo both at 65. I'm upset the Ludwig 40s aren't playing. And I think once I had the Ludwig 40, I just kept re-upping on it. And I'd like look at that JT 35 and probably think, shit, like he's not that good of a player at this moment. Like he probably needs to be there. But I didn't want to bet anyone else because I'm like, no one else is winning but Ludwig. So I do think I misread the market because I'd argue those JT bets were probably the best one. In hindsight, that was the bet to make because he didn't have the ranking where he couldn't like skip this like some other high-end players, and he had the course history. So that one went over my head. I'm happy with my Sahith ticket. I love Minwoo. So no regrets there. I just wish I saw the JT in hindsight. The JT thing was so clear from go. So I'm mad.
It wasn't clear though
for not seeing it. I guess
Jeff, it was not clear, right? JT
you're right.
sucked last year. He was fucking terrible. I literally threw a temper tantrum like my fucking daughter would have if I turned Frozen off when he got picked to the Ryder Cup team over Keegan Bradley. I wished death upon the team. I hope they got swept and didn't win a fucking point because I was so mad that JT went versus Keegan Bradley because there was no signs of life. He had to go play the DP tour and still didn't do shit. What was that terrible tour he played? Was it what the hell was that tournament he played?
It was the NetBank. He finished top 10.
No, not overseas. The Bahamas one or whatever it was. The Fortnite. Thank you. The Fortnite. And he fucking top 10 there. And it was me, you, and Geoff fucking playing. Like, forget about it. Like, I was so fucking mad. And
thank you for making me feel like I wasn't as big of a mess. Just props to people.
It's not a big mess.
Who saw it. But no,
they can pin that seal Yeah, they can pin that COV to their fridge with the rest of their losing bets because literally everyone in the community is on JT.
I'm not.
Everyone.
I'm not. I just
No, I'm not
decided I
either.
can't do it. Not with everybody. I
Everybody's on
wasn't
it.
doing it. I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
If he wins, people get a victory lap
So
10
be it.
minutes before the Super Bowl. I'll be jealous because we'll put our hands in our pocket and feel our thigh and no money, but I'm not doing it. I'm not
doing it
betting
either.
JT at that number. I'm not.
Nope.
Even the 14s,
Yeah, absolutely not.
I see why people liked it, did it, but I just couldn't get there myself.
Yeah.
This is
I mean,
if this is Ricky at Detroit again, though, Steve, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
That's another bad beat.
Geoff was the same. I forgot Geoff was the same way. I refused to bet this goddamn thing because the narrative was too strong. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not betting it. No,
Geoff, I had Morikawa and Hadwin tickets at the Rocket Mortgage, and I saw everybody spike the football for Ricky. And then I went and had my kid, and I was gone for a month and a half. I think people thought I probably quit the show at that point. But you bring up a good point with with JT, if you want to bet the number there, let's pretend you cleared the board right now. Like, you don't have any bets right here. Obviously, we've been having trends of long shot winners to the point that everybody's just going to say right now, well, what's the point of betting favorites? You might as well just bet long shots here. Are you starting to, because I know historically you like pepper in like the 30 to 60 range. Like, that's been the sweet spot. That's been a sweet spot for a lot of us, over the years. Are you starting to maybe move off that a little bit and being a little more amenable to going long shots? Or are you just going to be stubborn like I think I am? And
we're all the same stubborn.
Just stay there. Just stay there. Okay.
Stubborn. I don't like change. Like when a website changes its layout, I'm like angry. Like, no, I like the old ESPN. But then like 5 days later, you're like, oh, this is pretty good stuff. Like, I get what they did here. No, not this week. I'm not changing my ways. I was tempted once I knew I wasn't betting JT, and then those big withdrawals happened. The only guy sort of truly under 25-1 that I've been thinking about was Sam Burns. I really liked how he's played the 10th at Pebble, the 6th, which was like really a second, for all, like, if you watched it, he went full tilt on the last, whatever that happens. It happened to anybody. I love the way he's playing. He's back on his favorite carpet greens. He's putting lights out. Like, I would take Burns at like the 20. I think maybe they're 20. Still there.
It's 20 right now still.
Over JT. Like, that will be
double the odds. Double the odds.
And I know JT's got so many career wins, but truly, like, Burns it's also been a while since he's won, so he's in a bit of a stroke play win drought because he did win match play. I trust Burns just as much as JT. I could probably argue to someone I should trust him more. So JT, is the guy. I know Spieth is popular, but just of the higher end players, it would be Burns who would have my most attention under 25-1.
Okay.
Well.
You also bet?
I bet Burns at 20, and it's just, and for everything Geoff said. Like, listen, if Steve, once again, I think I told you this. I know you had Burns, and when he went in the water, I laughed and laughed and laughed, and then I texted you like, "Oh no!"
I had him too.
It was hilarious to me that you lost. Yeah, that you lost to an amateur. But I feel like, listen, the hot putter in this type of field, like, this is Burns to win and JT is to fucking choke. Like, that is the way it is. And look, here's the deal. Scotty could come take our fucking lunch money and 3-peat at fucking 5-1. Like, Scotty in this field at 5-1, I don't know. Like, it's silly, but at the same point, it's still Scotty. And all he has to do is lose like a half a stroke putting to more than what? Other than like 4 or 5 guys in this field, and he'll fucking boat race it. So I don't know. I like Burns. I like his player profile for this. Yeah, and I trust him more than JT. And he's twice the number, man. He's twice the number. Like, forget about it. Like, twice the number. That's it.
All right. I mean, at the beginning of the week,
I don't like JT.
Yeah, I know. We should disclaim all your takes as that known JT hater, Boston Capper. At the bottom of the screen there before you give your takes there. Now, so I was going back and forth between Burns and going back to Homa this week. Homa's got a decent track record here, driver heavy golf course. I'm not really all that concerned about what happened at Pebble. I know he has a good history there.
Trust me.
It is what it is. But I think with the weather this week, a little colder, a little rainy, maybe some windier conditions. I've seen Max Homa do pretty well in some pretty bad weather. through the course of his career. Makes me a little concerned. Maybe this isn't quite the putting contest for Sam Burns, although that might actually help him if it's, little wetter fairways, ball's not rolling out a little bit. Maybe it's not going to roll in that cactus bush this time. So I ended up going with Homa at 20. It's dropped a lot. That was before Hovland and Xander dropped out, but I just love how he's been driving the ball. He's been pretty good.
What's Homa saying that now?
Oh, probably like 14, 16 maybe.
I like Homa more than Spieth, but less than Burns because, as I said, Burns would be my favorite.
I like Spieth more than Homa only because I laid minus 160 for a top 20 on Homa last week. Thanks for showing up in your fucking home state, you piece of shit.
You are a vindictive gambler.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. No, I don't mind the Burns pick. I mean, obviously, despite what happened at the Amex, that travesty there, a lot of good success with Burns, and my career gambling. I hope it works out for you.
And he had an outstanding Saturday. That final round, he played great. He double bogeyed 17 a par 3, also ironically on Saturday at Pebble. So So I don't know. I really like what I saw there. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm happy.
You haven't pulled the trigger on Burns?
I haven't pulled it yet, but I'm happy to see you can still get the 20s.
You still get the 20s, and so you said you watched Ludwig. So I think it was last year I went to it was either last one. It was either last year or the year before. I was following him. Oh, so it must have been 2 years ago. So it was him and Paul Casey were in the same group, and nobody was following around Sam Burns and Paul Casey. I can't remember who the fuck else was with them. But I was like, there's no one following fucking Sam Burns. Let's follow Sam Burns. And the sound of his ball coming off the fucking tee box, like. Oh, sexy.
Yeah.
Like sexy and like, I don't know. Like
I could have fun at a golf tournament blind if I got to watch just Ludwig off the tee. Listen to these guys, some of these guys off the tee. It truly is like, it's if insane. I could say why you should go to an event, it's truly to hear that sound. Like I'm telling you, it's different. It's real. Damn it. It's real.
It is absolutely real because when you and your drunk buddies are on fucking 12 on your Sunday round, there ain't nobody making anything close to that fucking sound. Period. End of story. It's like the one time in your round you hit a perfect drive or a perfect iron times 100. It's unbelievable what a true golf shot sounds like.
It's a true golf shot with like a 180 swing speed. It's a different sort of sound.
Oh, it's an animal.
Different thing there. All right, so let's go a little bit higher up the odds board there. Other than Minwoo Lee and Sahith, who you have bets on, between like 25 and like 50. Any other golfers in that range piquing your interest, Geoff, as far as either adding a bet or if you had the ability, you would have bet him at this number?
Would you still bet Sahith at 35?
I don't know. Maybe. I get like I'm not sure.
There's no gun to your head, Geoff. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I maybe not. I don't know if I'd played him this. I'm not sure. I don't know. That was a decision made in the fall. We're happy with it. I'm not gonna lie. Here, I really like Sung Jae. I really like Fitzpatrick. And I've seen Cam Young as high as 50, and I like to think this place could really work for him. So those would be the players in that 30 to 60. And Hideki. Hideki, I have bet. Hideki, I have bet. Sung Jae Im, I have bet. So I guess I should say that and then say that it is the Fitzpatrick and willing to maybe try this Cam Young thing.
Stop it with the Cam Young. Just slam your hand in a draw instead. Put your hand inside the draw and just slam it.
I know, right? Because when he's like on the fringe, 39 feet for eagle on the par 5, and he's gonna walk off with a par. Like that's why I don't track golf on Thursdays. That is why. That would it would ruin the next like 45 minutes to an hour of a day where I have things to do, be it for a work or my family. I need to get something productive done. If I see that, it will I'd be on tilt on a Thursday. That's why I like checking at the end of Thursdays. People like Cam Young is why I can't track golf on a Thursday.
I'm going to invite you to our text chain on a Thursday because I have multiple first round leaders and then in round matchups. I start motherfucking people at about 9:15 a.m.
Yeah. What is Nick Taylor doing? It's 2 holes in, buddy. He has 2 pars. Okay, relax. Okay, relax.
No, okay. I thought you were asking for me to sell you on Cam Young, but you were just telling me to put my hand in a drawer and smash it.
No, don't bet. Cam Young is never going to win on tour. End of story. Period. Listen, everybody got infatuated because he drove it really long, and then he did well on short courses, and he did well at the Open that Cam Smith came and stole Rory's money, which is still warms the cockles of my heart. But he's never going to win. He's not going to win.
I know. I do feel like this is the type of course that can suit him. He lost. I know it was an embarrassing. It was an embarrassing finish in the Middle East, but there's like desert there.
He shot two over.
I know. Desert. So embarrassing. It's. You're right.
Listen, don't forget second in Jeddah too. That's another desert.
Yeah, slam your hand in the draw next time you think about betting him.
Camelot, when there's sand around, I don't know, just a bit. You're fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Just method man it. Put your dick in the draw and slam it shut. Next time you want to bet Cam Young. Cam Young's never winning on the PGA Tour. Period.
All right. Well,
that's my stance.
Well, I bet somebody he's at a much lower number now. He's been steamed crazy this week. It's another guy who can basically put your hand in a drawer and just slam it. I bet Ben on 45-1.
I'll just stop that by saying it's a great bet. Only what are the sports books doing? Like that, you look at the odds right now, and it's. What are the sports books like? Know this fucker is
they're
there
going to
on
take a
Sunday.
handle.
They know he's going to be like 3-1 live at some point. The fact that they can hang a pre-tournament number like this around those sorts of players, like, do people even outside of like our internet circle even know who Bet On is?
No shot.
This is a tournament that takes a little more, it's not a major, but I would like to think this tournament's taking more casual bets than a lot of PGA
absolutely is.
events.
It definitely is.
So the books are. I tweeted Ben and maybe, but 2 tournaments ago, what does it feel like to have the sports books afraid of you? I should go find that tweet and just retweet it right now, because if you look at the odds, it's perfect sense.
Yeah. So here's what I think is happening, because I actually, when it opened. Well, not open, but this was when I first started looking. I saw Bet On 45-1, and I know that Data Golf has been irrationally high on Bet On, to the point where they always show his odds when it opens at plus EV. And I just knew at that point, once people see that, he just gets bet up immediately. So I was surprised he got up as high as 28-1 after that, but I mean, the case for Bet On, driving is a huge predicted metric here. It's also very correlated to in-tournament success as well. Obviously, driving really good. The putter has been, besides that 5-footer that he missed.
You were on Keegan. I was on him. I would like to say if he wins, I'll send him a tweet of congratulations. I'll congratulate everyone who had the balls to bet it early. I'll give bigger congratulations, scary enough, to the people who got the shorter number. I'll give bigger props to the dudes that stepped in at 30 on Ben An than I will to you, Steve, who bet it at what feels like maybe a normal number. I'll just have to accept that it happened. I just can't get on it here. I can't, but like a lot of us on the web, I'm cheering for the guy. Seems like a lovely fella.
Yeah, no, I get it. If I was looking at 28-30-1, I probably would go Fitzpatrick.
Is that what he's at right now?
You would just swallow 8 points and bet Sam Burns and Jordan Spieth, then bet Ben An.
I probably would at that point.
Or that is 100%. Steve is 100% doing that. He is not doing. He's going Ben An 28, Sam Burns 20. 99.9 times out of 100 he's doing Burns, if that's the mathematical equation.
Yes, I probably would. Or
Geoff, he is my Pizzola. if that helps you understand the relationship. He constantly shames me for gut betting and making negative EV bets.
Yeah.
And then I just yell at him and say, I don't care.
Yeah.
I bet golfers, not numbers, guys.
That's right, baby.
I bet players, not numbers.
Put that on.
I don't bet fucking numbers. I was in finance for a decade, and I understand how these numbers work. Guess what I still don't do? I don't bet fucking numbers because numbers don't factor in guts, clutch, and balls. Period. End of story. I don't care. The numbers can never factor in on that. And that's the way Dan Campbell just lost with the fucking Lions because he decided to take the analytics in instead of realizing momentum is an actual fucking thing. I don't care. The numbers can't tell you it, but it is an actual thing. And he pissed it down his leg. And that's why Detroit should be in the Super Bowl versus not. But the analytics community, the number nerds, Steve, I love you.
Thanks, buddy.
Ruining sports. They ruined baseball already. They have ruined baseball. They're trying to ruin football.
Look, I can at least go to a high level and know if a guy has balls or not based on looking at the stats. Okay, I have that wherewithal, except for Sung J M. Sometimes I bet
always
him,
with Sung J M.
I bet him way too much.
Numbers on him.
I'm finally off him.
Apparently, Sung. Oh, I don't want to say this then.
Well, why is that?
Oh, no, I don't want to like if you're off Sung J, I don't want to like say something that could put you on. Apparently,
I'm allowed to shock collar him if he bets him again. So go ahead and tell him.
I have a thought because I remember last year he came back from Korea and he was battling kind of a neck injury and he just went completely into the tank.
No,
and now I'm staring at 3 really bad iron performances in the rows. But if you got some inside intel on.
I don't have any actual inside intel. I just would say that apparently some people who consider themselves like better at this than others might like Peabody is apparently very in on Sung J this week. So that I'm just saying that's why some of these like streeter books have like Sung J at like 22-1 because he's been smashed by some syndicates.
Peabody has a fucking portfolio where he's trading 9,000 fucking shares that are worth fucking $40.
Yeah, Peabody. I'm on Sung J. Fuck Rufus. Okay? I don't mean fuck Rufus. I mean,
listen.
I like if you want to bet Sung J this week, you can do it because I like him, not because apparently a guy who's way smarter than I likes him. I have bet Sung J this week. I didn't know about that when I did do it, but it didn't bother me to hear it.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Rufus, very, very smart, okay? He is not in the same business or stratosphere of what we're doing. He is literally trying to arbitrage fucking golf numbers, and that's all he's trying to do. All he has to do is figure out XYZ. If you look at his fucking like portfolio and what he's doing with college betting, he's taking a bunch of parlays and minus 1,000 favorites. So he's figuring out it comes to like 78%. If I bet this much of that, like he's doing the same thing with golf. Like that's all he's doing. If you have a huge bankroll and you have like investors giving you fucking whatever it is, $50 million for a sports betting portfolio, you could do this shit. If you're talking about our money, even with the syndicate, it's tough to do. No, listen, I like Rufus and I like his brain, but he's not doing the same fucking thing we're doing. So every time he goes on a podcast and says something, it's completely fucking disingenuous, and it fucking frustrates me because I understand how that side of the business works too.
Okay, I think what you said is kind of very fair, but mainly like we're not doing the same thing. We're making outright bets for entertain, like for like more fun for Sunday sweats. He like what he's doing is like at a level so beyond. It's a math problem. And I guess you're right when he does come on to like shows on Visit and makes his points to casuals who then follow. Like he's playing such a different game. So the game he's playing, he's excellent at.
Correct. Clearly. Not our game though.
But it's not the game.
He's playing the private equity game. That's all he's doing. He's playing the hedge fund game. He's playing how do I take all these people's money and give them a return XYZ. And look, that makes sense for that. For what we do, makes zero sense because he thinks, oh, listen, mathematically, if you do this 10,000 times, you're going to get this. Well, guess what? We're not doing this fucking 10,000 times. We're doing this one time on a fucking Sunday, and period, end of story. That's
all right, Capper. You've done a lot of complaining during this segment. How about, did you bet anybody between like 25 and 50 or no?
So I bet Sahith at 35. That's why I wanted to see if Geoff thought it was good. Because listen, I'm in Florida. Hard Rock might be legal, but it still comes out super late. And I still use brown bag more than I use fucking Hard Rock because the juice is unbelievably bad. Like my fucking bookie has better juice than the Hard Rock. So yeah, okay. I don't know. Sahith at 35. I thought about Tom Kim at 35, but I don't know. I just can't. He's so short off the tee. And if you look at the past winners on here, I mean, you got long guys, Woodland, fucking Scotty, Brooks. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm good with leaving Tom Kim off my card.
All right. I bet another guy in this range. I just like the way Adam Scott's playing lately.
Love it.
He's been driving the ball really good all the way since last fall. The iron. So the concerning thing is between like 150 and 200, really important proximity range this week. He's been pretty bad over the last 2 years. It's improved a little bit over the last 6 months. His overall iron numbers doing a little better. He's putting better. He's putt pretty well on these overseeded surfaces too.
Can't wait for you to motherfuck him when he misses a 2.5 foot putt on fucking Saturday. Can't wait.
That I've done that plenty of times in my career. I might do that again, but I just love how he's playing. It fits everything I'm looking for. I really think driving just with the soggy conditions, the colder conditions, I think that's going to take on an extra premium this week. 55-1 Adam Scott playing good. Let's go.
All right.
Yeah, I like Adam, man. He's like been on a really cut down list that I've had, but I like hearing you on him. I'm sometimes such a sucker for him. He hasn't played a ton, but he has been playing really well when he tees it up these days.
Yeah,
there is no one I trust less on a 3-foot putt than Adam Scott.
You know, nowadays there might be guys you would trust less, but I get it. Like, I can't argue with that.
Scar tissue, man. It's scar tissue, which is fine. Look, he looks great in beige. My wife likes him. All the girls like him. He looks great. He's got a good accent. Yeah, he hasn't won anything in the
See, listen, it could be a big week for the wives because I tell you, nothing gets some of like I think we could be around the same age. I know Usher puts them in the mood.
Dude, listen.
Little Adam Scott Usher parlay. We could be getting lucky after this Super Bowl, boys.
On the dot.
my wife has some very strong takes about Usher's first song that we'll talk about on our Thursday.
Me and my wife love some Usher, man. That 7:00 on the dot. Ready to creep.
Yeah, so between Adam Scott and Usher, man, we could be in for a night. Hopefully,
might be a good night. It might be a good night.
Might be. All right,
40-year-old white guys very happy with the fucking halftime show. Let's go.
All right, let's
tongue wagging over Shakira. We're like, oh baby, what do you think about Usher? Let's go.
All right, let's go north of 60. Geoff, is anybody north of 60 like that you really like this week?
Go to 60 to 100. We're already running an hour. Plus, I want to get his San Diego thoughts and Super Bowl thoughts. Okay. So 60 to 100, who you got?
60 to 100. I will say you kind of got to fight for the guy, but I could see Corey Connors popping. People are like making it like he's playing horrible. He's just not playing as good as he should. But he's a guy that I'm kind of looking to sneak in. I don't know that I could bet. I don't know that I could bet Norin, but I don't mind Norin. I've seen like his number get up to 90, but I trust like Adam Scott more than I trust Norin. I don't really have a lot here because between those two futures and what I'm gonna do between like 30 and 60, I'm kind of just out.
You're kind of dead. All right, so Geoff, like, endorsing Corey Connors is like me endorsing somebody from Sully to play well in X golf.
Fair enough. I call him the banana stand.
Like, yeah, always money in the banana stand. Correct.
Yeah.
So Batia at 80 to 1.
Yeah.
I bet him too, Capper. 70. So you beat me on a number finder. I got 75.
I almost feel bullied at this point where I like when the number is there, like I feel like I have to bet it just so I'm not made fun of by the other golf guys. That's kind of the only reason I bet it, if I'm being honest.
Okay. I mean, so why I bet it? I mean, he's been playing great lately. He had a T13 at Torrey Pines. T degree numbers look really good.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, like the start of his career, the putter hasn't been all that good, but he's been putting a little better lately. Plus, I mean, he broke the narrative I always had on him. They only performs really good at honeymoon locations and tropical locations. He finally got a good finish at Torrey Pines. So, I mean, I don't call San Diego, no offense, Geoff, a good honeymoon destination. But I just like how he's been playing lately. He's a good driver, fits what I'm looking for. I also bet Kurt Kitayama 110 to 1. Good starts, solid start to the year. Isn't really showing in the performance right now, but ball striking numbers look really good. He's got length. One of the correlated courses to this place is Bay Hill. He's won there. I like how he's been showing there. And then, look, I mean, I'm looking at this weather report. Cold, rainy, maybe some windy conditions. This guy does have a top 10 at Scottsdale back when it was kind of difficult scoring conditions, I think in 2016 or so. How about 110 to 1 Shane Lowry? Not, T25 at Farmers.
110. We
I
can
like
find 110.
That's
It,
crushed.
Yeah, if I can
it,
get
it dipped to
110.
110 and then it immediately went back to 80 today. But when I was eyeing him up, and as soon as I saw him cross 100, I'm like, you know what?
He still owes us from the fucking Honda and the Heritage. That prick.
I like Lowry. It does make sense. I miss those big numbers. That one, I think, low key. I think that is, I don't mean like chalky in that extent, but low key, like sharp. I think that Lowry play, that numbers dipped big, and it's not like I've seen him. It's not like I've seen him on a lot of people's cards. So I want to say there could be some like really respected money behind Shane Lowry this week, and I can see why.
Yeah,
What do you see? I'm seeing 65, Jeff. You seen anything bigger?
70's the biggest I've seen.
Yeah,
I see at Rivers. 70.
So briefly on Bet Online, it went to 110. And then it got bet.
Steve always gets Steve's such a prick. He's always lords the best numbers of them. He's like, I have all these books I get to choose from. Have fun with your Seminoles down in Florida and your brown bag, who doesn't put out odds until Wednesday.
I never say that. You say that, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Jeff, do you have any cross sport props for the Phoenix? I got one.
No, I'm not gonna lie. My wife's been away. I've been dealing with 2 kids. The thought of like looking at cross sport props, my head would explode. If someone I trusted like you gave me one and I liked it, like I happily tail, but my mind is not in a place to digest.
Can I tell you the worst thing I heard today? So I was working and like, you know how like randomly it'll go from like a podcast that you listen to like whatever Spotify thinks you want to listen to. So it was a big network golf show. This guy's bet, I didn't realize what was happening, and I recognized one of the voices, and then the next one shows up. He decided to do, it was plus 300 for Scotty Scheffler to win. No, it was plus 200. Scotty Scheffler to win or Travis Kelce for a touchdown. Plus 200 for that bet. That is possibly the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. Wow. Wow. This is on like a 3-letter network podcast. Like that focuses on golf. Unbelievable. I was like, wow. You are giving this out to people? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah, so
just bet them both separately, you fucking asshole. Like, why are you telling these people to bet this? It's unbelievable.
Well, congrats to that guy. He probably is going to win that bet because he just shifted the universe.
Yeah, probably right. Probably
no, I didn't like a lot of the offerings this year with the cross sport props. One I liked, I like. So for the Super Bowl, and we'll get to this maybe in a little bit, but I like the angle about, the Chiefs are they're not the explosive offense anymore. A little more ball control. They got a little early and they kind of just sit on you. And the Mahomes under passing yards has been alluring to me, but you can get it against the winning score at Phoenix. And I saw the weather report. It's going to be cold. It's not going to break 60 all week. You can get some wind on Thursday, wind on Saturday. It reminds me of that final round in 2019 that was really cold, rainy, windy, and it played over par. So we're going to get at least 2 days of that, and it's not going to break 60 the rest of the days. So I'm expecting maybe a winning score.
248,
maybe 16, 17. Yeah, so it's 284 would be even par. So
16 under would be
16 under gets you like 268.
268, yeah.
So the line's to like 262, 263. So you're getting a little bit of yards there. But regardless, though, I just like the Mahomes under, and I want to just have a crossword prop. So I think winning score higher than Mahomes passing yards minus one.
Man, I don't know. I don't know about the yard scares me with Mahomes. Everything scares me with Mahomes. Like, it just scares me. Like, I'm gonna bet San Francisco just out of fucking pure stubbornness, and I don't want them to because I don't want. Here's what I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear Nick fucking Wright say that Mahomes has won 3 Super Bowls and now he's the greatest fucking quarterback ever. It makes me want to fucking pound my head into the goddamn wall.
Well, I don't want to see a division rival win triplets on the weekend. So I'm just gonna be
listen. You have your own reasons. I wanted to defend my dynasty. The fact that I haven't even been able to breathe and enjoy the dynasty that the Patriots were for 20 years. As soon as Brady leaves, he goes and wins a fucking Super Bowl, and now I get Patrick Mahomes up my ass about to fucking win his third fucking Super Bowl in 6 years, and I got to hear all these fucking mouth-breathing, redneck, barbecuing fucking assholes fucking be like, Patrick Mahomes is the best. Yeah, I get it. Like, you think he's awesome. See how he does, 15 to 20 years, but you have assholes like Nick Wright. And like, Nick Wright is like the low nut of sports media, period, end of story. Like, that's it. And the fact that people talk about Mahomes like he's the greatest ever. Like, look, dude, the guy is a stud. If you say he's not awesome and you don't like him, then you're an asshole, right? You might not like his family. His brother's kind of an asshole. Maybe sexual assault guy. Wife kind of a pill. Whatever it be. But Mahomes himself does everything correctly, right? Answers everything nice, fucking plays awesome, makes all the players better around him. And look, Andy Reid, who doesn't like Andy Reid? The Walrus with the mustache. He likes his nuggies. Fine, whatever. He needs to do it for another 15 fucking years. He even said it. But all the Peyton fans made me hate Peyton Manning. Like, I hated Peyton Manning for fucking 20 years until he got on TV and all the indie people shut up. And I was like, oh, Manning's okay. But yeah, I can't. I want San Francisco to win so bad.
Okay.
So bad. Which means Kansas City in a route.
Well, I mean, Geoff, why don't we kick over to you for official Super Bowl pick? I don't know if if you're keeping a top pick or anything, but
let's get a state of the Chargers before his Super Bowl pick.
All right.
I know he does it everywhere, but I won't get mad at him and he can just yell and talk as long as he wants.
No, I mean, it's nice that, like, even when the Chargers screw it up, you'll have to find a different slant because, like, it's not like, oh, it's cheap Chargers or, like, you can't take them seriously. Or it's like every time you're like, I really like the Chargers this week, but, man, they're the Chargers and they're going to screw it up on the margins. Like, now you can maybe say, no, I like the Chargers. And they might lose, but they're not going to, like, screw it up. Like, they'll just, like, lose. And maybe that's fair. Like, when they're winning games, they're actually going to maybe win them. It's just a level of credibility. That's what it is. I'm paranoid that it's, like, almost too good that something's going to happen or, like, like everyone. I've never seen a coaching hire literally universally praised. Like, they did the right thing. That's exactly what they needed. That's the guy they got. They didn't think they'd pay him. They paid him. Whether you think the Chargers are going to win next year or in like 2 or 3 years, it doesn't seem like anyone doesn't think that they're going to kind of get it going here. So that's exciting.
Yeah. So the last coach you had was a complete fucking moron, like stiff, like worse than was it Tony? Was it Tony Lynn? Who was your last one?
Well, there's Lynn and Staley's, but they can blur together for hate.
Yeah, well, Staley. We were saying so before Staley was the worst, but Lynn was even a more fucking moron. So when Schottenheimer was hired, do you remember if people were excited? Like, completely
but it was
loved
different because Schottenheimer didn't have. You forget though, Schottenheimer. Like, I believe Marty Schottenheimer belongs in the Football Hall of Fame. It's not his fault that John Elway is the great. Like, it's not his fault. John Elway had the greatest drive ever, essentially.
Sir, we can argue about the greatest drive ever.
Okay, sure, fine. Up until that point, then there was a period of time where that was, but fine. You probably got whatever. That's fine. But like Schottenheimer was still a guy that like hadn't won the big one. It was like what the Chargers needed. Okay. They were off a 1-15 season when they brought in
so that's what I was asking. So like was the excitement the same?
No, like, it was like it wasn't exciting. It was because they were like 1-15. There was so much to work. It was like this guy is just gonna like turn them not to be a laughing stock. Like that's what the Schottenheimer hire felt like. And even when they hired Schottenheimer, it was like, well, he'll be great. He'll probably get them to the playoffs. But by the time they get there, they'll probably need a new guy to get them over the top, maybe. Different because Harbaugh like he's won. Like Harbaugh is just like won at different places, just won.
I like him much more than his brother. I hate his fucking brother.
And Schottenheimer was off a 1-year stint in Washington where he went 500 with like a Dan Snyder bought like a super team that 1 year.
Not Schottenheimer. I don't like John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is fucking screwed.
So yeah, I'm excited. It's just nice to see the chart. You've followed the league for a long time. Like I'm sure it's surprising for everyone to see the Chargers like
cash.
just make a bunch of right moves. So hopefully that works. They'll get the cap sorted out. Everyone wants to be like, oh, who wants a job in the same division as Patrick Mahomes? Well, fair. I think you blindly ignore the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers made the playoffs this year. Gardner Minshew had a win-in opportunity in the last week of this season. Like, with this new concept of that extra playoff spot, it seems like if you've got a pulse, you should be able to compete to get into the dance. Again, like, look at how bad some of these 7th seeds have been the last few years. There's no reason.
It's the worst thing that's happened to football, by the way. We don't need this fucking extra game, and I get it.
Maybe.
I love football.
Maybe
I want all the extra games, but there's no reason for it. Just give the 1 and 2 seeds the bye. Do it back in the day like it was. There's no reason to have these other 7. Listen, I know the Giants came in and disrupted us and fucking it came in as a lower seed, but that was still the 6th seed, not the 7th seed. Has the 7th seed done anything? It's just a money grab by the NFL again. Just the worst.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so Geoff, I mean, obviously we're talking about Harbaugh, the head coach. Who's the GM you got there? Is he?
Oh,
where did he come from?
Joe Ortiz.
I like him.
Yeah, Joe Ortiz. He's been in Baltimore forever, scouting, all of that. Like, Sims has done a good job with the talent. And then it's an obvious, like, those stories about Harbaugh in San Francisco. So they had to bring a guy in, that he at least approves of, that he says is so, well, the talent levels in Baltimore, how they've performed in the draft, like, that seems like a good
Baltimore's so Ozzie Newsome was one of the greatest GMs. One of the greatest GMs, like unbelievable draft after unbelievable draft. And listen, so out of all the teams I hate the Jets just because they're the Jets and they suck and their fans are miserable. But I fucking hate the Ravens. And the reason I hate the Ravens is because they weren't scared of the Patriots. They would come up and it would be some of the most stressful games I've ever sat through in my entire fucking life. And those teams did not give a shit. Ray Lewis, fucking Terrell Suggs, whether he's a piece of shit or not, murderer for Ray Lewis, and then, pouring bleach on the face of his pregnant girlfriend, Terrell Suggs, great human beings. Just kidding. But they're awesome football players. So they were still allowed to play. And I just, the Ravens did not give a shit. And that was the team that gave the Patriots the most problems over the last 28 years.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah, for sure.
So the fact that you got somebody from that tree is definitely good.
Yeah, they had this press conference today, so I'm probably gonna walk the dog when we're done here in a couple minutes, and finally listen to that because I love me a good press.
And now you got Harbaugh. And now they should be given Monday breakdowns.
Dude, I am getting the Mondays. I trolled the social media guy to say you didn't pay a coach $50 million a year to not that he's getting his Mondays next fall, and he's really excited about it. But yeah,
you're gonna be so disappointed on these Mondays, though, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen, I guess maybe it might be different because I have Belichick, and he basically told reporters.
Oh no, but yeah, it's different. But also, I'm so invested in the pressers because the coaches are losers, and I don't trust them. So I just want to hear what they're saying. I actually feel like when you have a good coach, it's almost like you don't give a shit what they say. Like you just trust everything in the processes. That maybe I'll actually care less because I just trust the guy at the microphone. I mean that. Can I hook you guys my Super Bowl thought? And then
let's get that before you get out of here.
So I do have a 49ers future, which, as you know, as a DGen, just to get a future into the big game, that's such a good feeling. Then I don't have to go out of pocket to actually bet the game. So that's feels like a win. That being
Can I ask you, you're still gonna bet the game though?
Yeah, well, that being said, I've got a lot of props. I think Deebo Samuel is going to have a monster game. I'm scared shitless Brock Purdy is going to fuck up and Mahomes is going to get his triplets. But I am so confident Deebo monster. Over 4.5 receptions. What are we talking about? The guy, they've had 2 weeks to prepare. He was healthy in that last game where they said he was 50-50. He was healthy. Over Deebo 14, 15 rushing yards, over. I'm telling you, over. I think Deebo, if the 49ers win, is going to win the MVP. So all the Deebo Samuel love for me on
what's
the prop sheet.
What's Deebo MVP?
Well, I bet it before the NFC title game at 65-1. Yeah. I thought if they made the Super Bowl, it would be 12-1. It's actually still 30-1. So I was like, what the hell? How can you still get Deebo MVP at 30-1? So that would be my thing. Also, those are Deebo props. That's what I'm all. Deebo monster game. monster game.
All
That's
right.
my
Debo
Super Bowl
monster.
thought.
All right. Well, Capper and I still need to get our money back because we were heavy on Debo in the Packers game, and then it looked like he was going to have massive usage, and then
He was,
yeah,
but that's the
got
thing.
hurt immediately.
They had the bye, so that was a 2-week
Right.
prep
I
for
know,
massive
I
usage
know.
for Debo. Like you knew, and the reason you thought the massive usage in that game, it's the same reason I'm getting it in this game because we got 2 weeks. He's the playmaker. The plays that they didn't even run in that game, they still got in the bag. Like because of that injury to me, it's like they still have some of the arsenal they haven't even shown yet for the postseason. I am such a sucker for the big Debo game. I hope you guys get your money back if you join me.
It does not take a lot, just like convincing me to bet Sung Jae. It does not take a lot for me to bet Debo props. So I only have you to blame, Jeff. But thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Sorry, it went a little long.
No, it's good. Perfect. But I got to get out here.
Why don't you give a couple plugs before you get out of here? Where can we find you?
Beautiful. So over at Mayo Media, we've done our golf video for the week. The football one should be dropping. We're, just having some fun with Tim. Pat and I also interviewed Richard Deitch this week. Sports media reporter should be dropping. So if you're just into that like boring minutia stuff that I am actually into, we talked to Richard about some of that stuff. So that should be coming out, and video over at Odds Checker. But it's really just Mayo Media, Odds Checker. Boys, I always love throwing down with you. Hit me up anytime. I mean it. I could have gone longer if I didn't have kids and dogs. I mean,
Yeah, buddy. We got kids and dogs. Jeff, appreciate you being on, bro. Motherfucking good luck with your futures, man.
All the best. We'll speak soon. Hopefully winners. Hopefully winners coming.
There you go. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. So, all right, Capper. We will be back in about 25 minutes for the Lit podcast.
Let's go.
And I'll tell you all about the mafia history of Las Vegas Country Club.
Oh, sir. Oh, we want to talk mafia? Oh, I can't wait to school you. Let's go. All right, we'll talk to you boys a little bit. Let's go.